Well, I'm Josh. I'm a sinner saved by grace. Uh, when you start in the beginning, my childhood, I lived in a home with my mother, which she did pretty much everything she could do to take care of me and my older brother and my sister. My dad was a heavy addict. He's an alcoholic. Uh, he was in and out biggest majority of my life. Met at a pretty rough childhood. Uh, as I got older, things got worse between my mom and my dad. They got divorced, and he was gone for a long time. We rarely ever seen him. When we did, he was usually drunk, or he was messed up. Uh, as I got older and got into high school, I started hanging around with some of the wrong people, wrong crowds of people. I got into using drugs. I started out with marijuana, alcohol. As I got just a little bit older, I started experimenting with methamphetamines, which was the worst thing that I've ever done. That caused a downward spiral that started right there, really. Since my dad really wasn't around, I really didn't have anybody to talk to. My older brother, in which he was an addict too, so that really didn't help out a whole lot. We really didn't get high together, but I mean, we knew what each other was doing. My high school years kind of got real bad. My mom and dad were trying to work things out. He had stopped drinking, but I mean, he was still using other drugs. I'd watched him do a lot. It's kind of hard to explain how I watched my mom struggle pretty much to try to take care of us kids, and pretty much my dad just like lay around and do drugs. Gave me the wrong outlook on life, pretty much. I kind of, me and my dad did bump heads, and after I've gotten older, I've realized why, because I was pretty much following in his footsteps. I was doing the same things he was doing. I was out running around, drinking and drugging, pretty much. I have I've been arrested more times than I can really count for different drug use, possession, just things that I shouldn't have been doing. Yeah, life home was real bad. My mom, she started out as it was she was trying to do law, basically. She was I forget what they call it. She was going to school to get a degree in law, and that didn't really pan out too much. I mean, financially, she couldn't do that and take care of us three kids pretty much as a single parent. So she ended up getting her a job at Atlas Van Lines, which she's still there. She's been there like 27 or 28 years now. She makes pretty decent money there, but it was, I watched my mom struggle. We didn't really have a whole lot of, we had a lot of hand-me-downs. My dad really wasn't there at all. When he was, I mean, might as well not have been. And that was pretty much childhood right there. If it really wouldn't matter if he was there or not, just because, I mean, when he was there, I mean, if he was laying around or he was using. Like I said, I've been in trouble more times than I can count for drugs. I did get busted for possession of methamphetamines. I did do drug court. I really wasn't, I took the drug court program to get out of jail, basically. I wasn't ready to actually clean up and get my life together at the time. I completed the program. That was a miracle, I guess, but I did complete the program. And then it didn't take long after I completed the program, I relapsed and was on the run. Manufacturing, well, my meth use went from just me getting high to my tolerance got a lot higher, to where I ended up having to start to sell it to be able to supply my habit. And then I couldn't find somebody to get enough supply to take care of my habit basically. Then I ended up hooking up with an older cat that showed me basically how to cook it, and then that's when I started making it myself, just to supply my own habit. Really, I didn't really make a whole lot of money off of it. The biggest majority of what I made went to my body. Uh, I did that. That was years. That was pretty much the only thing that I knew. That was my everyday life. I got up. If I did lay down, when I got up, that's what I got up, got dressed, and I went out and started to do my grind to gather up whatever I needed to be able to set one off that night so I could get high. And if that meant I had to rob somebody or screw somebody over to get what I needed to make that batch, I mean, that's pretty much what I did. Just get high. I did follow exactly my dad's footsteps there. I had kids. I was married, I'm divorced now. But while we were married, I pretty much did the same things that my dad was doing. When I was a kid, I mean, I was running in and out. I was rarely ever home. When I was home, I was high. I was a real bad influence on my children, just like my dad was with me. Which he's not now. I mean, but he's an old man now. I did eventually get caught up for manufacturing methamphetamines. I got a 6-year sentence. It was a 4-2 DLC with 2 years probation at the end of my sentence. At the time that I got busted, it come to the point that I was done with what I was doing. I'd finally had enough, but I'd done dug a hole so deep that it didn't matter what I was doing when they finally caught up with me, that I was going to prison, and I knew it. Well, when they finally did catch up with me, and it's kind of weird to say it, that the night that I got busted, I was so relieved that it was finally over with. I didn't have to look over my shoulders. That when the sheriffs and everybody was at my trailer, they were tearing it all apart, trying to find everything there. They had me cuffed and in the back of the squad car. I just went to sleep, and I slept the biggest majority. They were there like almost 4 hours, I think it was, and the biggest majority of that 4 hours, I was asleep in the back of the squad car. They had to keep waking me up to ask me questions about what they had found, who it belonged to, if it was mine, and I just told them, I mean, you charge me with whatever you're going to charge me with, and take me to jail. I knew that when I got to prison, that was the best thing for me. It gave me a chance to get away from the people that were in my life that I was fed up with, and the lifestyle that I was done with. And I knew that when I did finally get released from prison, that if I didn't get some help when I got out, I was ready to do it this time, and I was ready to get my act together. I knew when I got out that if I didn't get help somewhere, that I'd eventually fall right back into exactly the same things that I was doing before I got caught. While I was in prison, my ex-wife, her and her husband were using also, and they were manufacturing. They blew up the house with a meth lab, and my youngest son was there at the time that it happened. They both got arrested. My son was taken into foster care. At the time, he was only 3 years old. He really didn't know me at all because of the lifestyle I'd already been living. I was ripping and running, and I really wasn't around to even see him. And then I went to prison. And then I was in prison for a while. By the time I got out, he was 4 years old. He didn't know me, and he was already in foster care. I had to build a whole new relationship with him, and I had to deal with CPS, which that was the hardest thing. That really set in with me on how bad I'd really been messing up in my life when I got out, and my 4-year-old son didn't know me as his dad. I had to become friends with him first, and then with CPS we had to work out, and he was going to do therapy and everything because of the explosion in the house catching on fire. Explaining to him that I was actually his father, and that the person that was in it the man that was in his life wasn't, that he was just basically stepdad. That really, that was a really big, a real big kick in the butt right there. So I really realized how bad I'd really been messing up. I mean, it's kind of, from a father's point of view, that was really hard for me to take. But I knew what I had to do, and I knew what I wanted to do. The day I got released from Branchville, I'd done wrote Pastor Fields through the CEO program that I wanted help and I needed help and I knew I was going to need help when I got out. And I'd heard a few things from a handful of different guys while I was locked up about the Churches of Brazen Offenders program, what they do for inmates and how they can help you when you get out. If you're really truly wanting help, they're there. They'll help you. I really didn't have a whole lot of faith or religious in my life at all the whole time I was growing up. I mean, my grandma was. I mean, so I knew about God and Jesus and everything, but I mean, I wasn't a faithful type person. I got released from Branchville April 11th, 2012. I went to CEO the next day and joined their program. I explained to Pastor Fields and Tony Metcalf that I was done with my old life, that was not the person that I wanted to be, and I needed help to not be that person anymore. And I knew if I didn't get help, that I'd eventually turn back into the person that I didn't want to be. They hooked me up with the Gathering Church, which is where I go every Sunday. Well, every other Sunday because I work. Within the process of getting out and trying to reestablish my relationship with my son, I was only allowed to have 2 hours a week with him. And that went on for quite a while. I got a house. It was a duplex, but that I rent from my mom. It was pretty well beat up. It needed a lot of work for me to be able to get it approved by CPS, basically, so I can even have my son there at the house. I've had help through the Gathering Church and my newfound family that helped me get the materials and the stuff that I needed and the money that I needed to fix the house to where, I mean, I can even get CPS to come and approve it to where I can have my son there. That worked out great. My house it's still a little rundown, but I mean, it's livable. I still got a little more work to do on it, but I mean, all that will all slowly work out. I'm truly blessed in my life now with friends and family that I have. My old family, my mom and dad, I got a new relationship with my mother and my father. My older brother, before I'd gotten released, me and him hadn't spoke for like 9 years. We'd had a falling out over me using and not doing things that I shouldn't have been doing. Pretty much was fist fighting, and me and him hadn't spoke for like 9 years, and now we talk on a regular basis. Him and his wife helped me get my son once I got in full custody of my son finally. They helped me get Jaden enrolled in Evansville Lutheran with a voucher program. It pays for his kindergarten and his first and second grade completely. That's awesome. That's a blessing right there. It's a higher education school. Me and my brother have a real good relationship now. I have a good relationship with my mom and my dad, and that was always in the past had been something real rocky. My dad just didn't talk to me just because of, I guess he's seen it as I was basically a younger version of him, which at the time I was. The things that CEO required that I should do, there was a Thinking for a Change class, which was awesome. That gave me the tools that I needed to think about the situations as they happened, on how to handle the situation to avoid it from exploding into something bad. I've used it on a couple different occasions. I still do. There's my Bible study every Wednesday, church on Sundays. I got Restore. My kids are My kids love Restore. uh, we go every week. Restore is an outreach program through the Gathering Church that we do over Cedar Hall, and we do our Celebrate and Recovery class. That's where I do my Celebrate and Recovery at on Monday nights. Uh, I got my men's group on Wednesdays, Bible study at the Gathering Church, which that's every Wednesday. Then we have our monthly men's breakfast that I'm involved with. I make the sausage gravy that everybody loves. My sons are starting to come to the men's breakfast on once a month that we do. I was really surprised that they were really happy. They were ready to go. They want to go as soon as they realize that's what's going on. They're ready to get up and go, which is real cool because I've had a distance relationship with my kids over the years because of the ripping and running and the drug use. My kids are, I think they've noticed the difference in me, that I'm there more besides when I'm working. At my meetings, they're involved with my groups that I go to, like the Restore over at Cedar Hall. The kids come with me. And they got the kids groups where they break off in their own age groups to their own classes, and they all love doing that. We have our meal before we have our classes, and that's awesome. That's one thing that I've realized that I do a lot more of now is I eat constantly. I guess that's from making up for all the years of methamphetamines. Which is okay. I'm cool with that. But yeah, I've got a great relationship with my kids now. I'm truly blessed with the people that I have in my life and the family that I have. I've gathered I go to the Gathering Church, which I didn't find out until months after of going to the church, that Pastor Ray is my cousin. His mom and my mom are sisters, and I didn't know that until after it just kind of happened when we was doing the back to school supplies at Helfrich Park, and I took my kids there. My mom took me and take my kids over there to get their school supplies when they seen Ray and April, and that's when my mom put everything together. Well, that's your cousin, which that was kind of weird how that kind of played out. That when I got out and I joined CEO, and I got put with the Gathering Church, which happened to be where my cousin was the pastor at, and I didn't even know it. That kind of brought my family kind of back together because my mom and Nana hadn't talked in a long time. Probably since I was a kid. And as soon as we realized what was going on, the next Monday when we went to Restore over at Cedar Hall, which just happened to be a block from my house, my mom went over there with us, and her and her sister Nana got to sit down and talk, and hadn't talked in years. That was cool. That they hadn't seen each other in years. I can't remember exactly what the whole argument was about exactly, on why there was a fallout between the two of them. I think it might have had something to do with my dad. I don't know, probably. But it was kind of cool to see my mom and her sister reunite, basically, and it all fell down because of me being released from Branchville and deciding that I was done with where I came from. I didn't want to be that person no more, and joined CEO, and that's when I got put with the Gathering Church, and it just all kind of fell into place there. I'm truly blessed with everything that's going on in my life. I got a decent job. I make all right money. I'm working my way up through the company where I'm at. My kids are happy. I've got a little Christmas savings going on for my kids, which is something I've never done. And that's all part with help through Restore. That's helped me save money for my kids this Christmas. Last year, when I got out, I didn't really have a whole lot of money, so when I did their little Christmas, I spent $400, which doesn't really sound like a whole lot, which really it's not a whole lot, but I got 8 kids, so it really didn't go very far. I'm hoping to do a little better than that. Well, I've already got more than that saved up, so it's going to be better than that. My son Jaden, I got an excellent relationship with him now. Uh, he's something else. I'm definitely in a different role in my life now. I'm doing things that I've never done before. I mean, I do the whole doctor's appointments, taking him to his doctors and all his appointments, make sure everything's being done, doing all the paperwork and all the stuff that usually the kids' moms were doing that I never really was actually hands-on doing. I'm the one doing that now, which is kind of out of my comfort zone, you can say. I've never really done none of that. I just took him to the doctors right before his kindergarten roundup to get his last 2 shots, and that was a new thing for me. That feels so awesome. It's hard to explain how great it is. Just how great it is, just the feeling of knowing that I got full custody of him, that I'm actually stepping up and trying to be the person, the father to my kids, and the person that I should have been a long time ago. And I do thank God for everything that's happened in my life, but I am truly blessed being a part of CEO. CEO I wouldn't be where I'm at now if I wouldn't have joined that program. My mentor is Tony Metcalf. Awesome, a great man, probably the greatest man that I know. Anytime I've ever had a problem, I could call him, just out of the blue, just talk to him about just whatever. He's always there. Anytime I've needed to go to court, whether it was a big deal or a little deal, I mean, he was going to court with me when I was trying to get custody of my son. I just went to court over trying to get my HTV dropped on my driver's license, the habitual traffic offender. And I mean, it really wasn't nothing. I mean, I wasn't in trouble for anything. It was just trying to get some charges dropped to where I could get my license, which is working out. I'm going to get my license. I mean, he was there for me. He introduced me to Bob Canada, which took care of that problem for me, which I thought was going to be a whole lot bigger of a deal than what it was. And we only been in front of the judge like 2 minutes and we were done, which that was really cool. Tony Metcalf has, he helped me he sponsored me for the Tres Dias weekend, which that was really awesome. I'd never, in my past, I would never have seen myself sitting in doing something like that Tres Dias weekend, that 3-4 day retreat. I would have never, in my mind, thought that I would ever have done something like that. It was definitely awesome. It was definitely a changing point in my walk. I walked away with a lot from that, and the people that were there and the other people that were doing their weekend too was awesome. One of the other fellows from my church was there with me. He was doing his weekend. That was awesome. I'd been talked to him several times through the church, but I really got to know him while we were there on that weekend together. And I mean, he's one of my good friends now. I mean, I talk to him regularly. He's a really good guy. I like him a lot. After I got done with my weekend, my first actual study Bible that somebody actually went out and bought for me, Tony Metcalf, when they picked me up for my weekend, had brought me a Bible. It had my name on it and everything. That was awesome. I read my Bible on a daily basis. I try to read it every morning when I get up, but sometimes it don't really, depending on, I get up 6 o'clock in the morning and I gotta get my son up and get him ready for school, and I gotta get him out the door before I go to work. So I don't always be able to get to read my Bible every morning before I go to work, but I do read it every night before I go to bed. My work schedule is kind of rough. I work 12-hour shifts, so I end up falling asleep. The Bible sitting next to me most of the time if I do it at night. But I try to read my Bible at least once a day, whether it's in the morning or at night before I go to bed. My nephew, Noah, which lives with my mom, which is kind of right next door to me anyways, he's always at my house. And my daughter, Erica, they're all wanting their own Bibles now. They're all involved with the church. They come here with me when I come. They're all involved with the youth group. And they're involved with Restore and everything in their groups that they've got going on there. At the church, they try to be involved with Elevate, which is the youth group at the Gathering Church. I decided to get baptized. Uh, that was August 19th, which the day that I actually got baptized, August 20th would have been 2 years that I'd been clean. And then August 19th was when I got baptized. It just kind of worked out that way. I'd pretty well, like I said, I'm not that person no more. Don't get me wrong, I know that person's still there, but I'm not that person no more. Uh, I know he's still there, and it wouldn't really take a whole lot for, I mean, if I stopped doing the things that I am doing, that I restore over at Cedar Hall, my Bible study on Wednesday nights, church on Sundays. If I stop doing all that, that's just, that I will eventually start falling back into my old habits, and that's not me. I know that person's still there, but I don't plan on him ever coming out again. And I owe a lot of what I do. I mean, I thank God for the people that I do have in my life. That CEO has helped me, Tony Metcalf has helped me, Pastor Fields. My walk there's been so many little things that has happened that has put me to where the spiritual person I am today. A lot of like little things that went on through the relationship of building another relationship with my son, a new relationship with my son from the beginning. He didn't really know me. He really didn't want to talk to me. And now, I mean, it's as soon as I walk in the door, it's "I love you, Dad," and it jumps in my lap, which is awesome. Just little things like that. I mean, I'm not. CEO requires me with their program to the church, and I got Bible study and meetings and everything and Celebrating Recovery that I go to. But it's not, I don't have to go to them. They asked me to go to these things with their program, but I choose to continue to go through. I mean, I go through all of it. If I can make every class, every meeting, I'm there. And when kids are involved, I bring my kids so my kids can go do their own things. It's nice to. This is the first time in my life that I have a new social life that's not the crowd of people that I have been in my past, the people that I was used to, the bad influences, you might as well say, the people that are doing bad things. And that's not just saying doing bad things and is using drugs, because I mean, I've got a lot of friends, well, they're people I know, they're not really friends of mine now, but they're just people that I know, that do bad things that doesn't involve doing drugs. I mean, you could be a bad person and not be doing drugs. Being a drug addict is just one of several bad things somebody could be doing. I have a whole new social life with here at my church. My whole life involves between my kids, work, church, my meetings, and that's pretty much it. It all circles around the Gathering Church. I mean, everything that I do, and God. It's awesome. I'm so much more of a person. I'm so much happier in my life now where I'm at. I don't really have any stress. I mean, I got the typical normal, I mean, my kids need this or the kids need that. But I mean, if it's something that I can't physically take care of with the kids or financially, I got my church that helps me out to get whatever I need. I had a little situation when the kids needed their school supplies and backpacks that their mother neglected to take them to go get what they needed from Hell Freak Park, I guess what it was. They had a family emergency and she just didn't make it to take them. She calls me at the last minute, tells me they need it all. I get a hold of Tony and he gets hold of everybody else through the church and I guess Hell Freak, and got everything my kids needed. Which I thank God that they go. Like I said, I thank God for the people that I have in my life. I am truly blessed for the friends and family that I do have. I wouldn't be here where I'm at if it wasn't for that. My oldest, which will be, Erica will be 16 in December. She has seen a lot of the things that I've done in my life, and she knows a lot. She's the oldest, so she's seen in a lot of the bad things that I've done. I've been in and out. She's got, she's had a kind of a poor opinion of me, actually a really bad opinion of me, because of my drug use in the past and everything. I'm still working on that relationship. It's better than now than it was. It's still kind of rocky, and she has every reason to be that way because of the person that I used to be. I think she knows now that I'm really trying not to be that person, but I can understand that she's hesitant about me going back to that person, because in my past, I mean, I'd always did. I mean, it didn't take long, and I always resorted back into the person that I'm trying not to be. But now, I mean, I've got a total different social life. I think she sees that too. I don't talk to any of the people that I used to talk to. I have a really great relationship with my kids now. Jordan, Sydney, and Carly, and Megan and Morgan. My house is just right across the street from Cedar Hall, which is where they go to school at. Which my work schedule kind of varies from week to week. But when they get out of school, they always walk right over to my house, which is where my mom and dad, their grandma and grandpa's at. And they hang out there until their nanny comes and picks them up. And I mean, they come, well, if I'm off work that day, they usually hang out with me for a little bit before their nanny comes and gets them. I get them every other weekend, and we're usually always we find something to do, pretty much. I try to give them something better than what I had, and better than what I've already given them. I mean, I did a lot of bad things. I mean, I try to take them to the movies, or I take them to go camping. Trying to be that father and that role model to my kids that I should have been years ago, that I never was. I'm trying to stop. I don't want my other kids to have the same. I don't want to have the same kind of rocky relationships that I have with Erica, with the other kids. Erica's a little bit older, so I mean, she has seen a lot more, and she's heard a lot more, so it makes it rough. I don't want that. I'm trying to stop. That's getting better, but I don't want that with the other kids. And me being involved with all the different things that I'm involved with through the church, and having the kids being involved with me, and with all this, I'm trying to show them that there's a better way of life. I want to be there for my kids, basically, and that's what I've been trying to do. That's when I've got them, I tried to take them to do different things. We go to the movies, which with my army, that costs an awful lot, which is okay. It's great. I try to give them whatever I can possibly give them, or if they need something, which is kind of cool that now they're coming in from school when I'm home. They're needing this for school, which, I mean, school just started back up, but I mean, my twins, Megan and Morgan, have both done, oh, well, we need $5 to take care of this class, or Sydney needed something. She needed paperwork signed and some money to do something about her netbook or whatever it was, and they all came to me about it, which is, I think that's really cool. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm sure if they would have went to their mother or their grandma, that they would have figured something out. But it's just nice that they're coming to me with their situations now, that, well, I need this for school, or this is what's going on. Can you sign this paper so we can go to school? Or this is for a field trip. Can you sign this paper? That's the first time I've really done all that. It's a great feeling, really. It's awesome. I'm truly blessed in my life with where I'm at now, and I'm not exactly completely where I want to be, but I'll get there, and it's baby steps, but I will get there. And I'm a lot further along, and I didn't think I'd be this happy and this content with everything that's going on in my life right now. When I first got out, I mean, because I was doing my programming through CEO, the things that they'd asked me to do, plus I was my probation and my parole that I was doing, my classes and meetings for them. Plus, I was doing stuff for CPS, trying to get joint custody of my son. My plate was overflowing, And even with all that going on, I was still happy. I mean, and even though that I was from every day, 7 days a week, from the time that I got up to the time I went to bed, I was pretty much, there was something going on that I was doing for one of my programs, whether it was CEO or my probation, or something for CPS so I can get custody of my son. I was still cool. I was happy with all that going on. It was kind of hectic, but not the bad kind of hectic. It was nice doing things, and I mean, it was hectic, and there was just different crazy things going on. It was just nice knowing that all this that was all going on, weren't bad things that were going on. I mean, there's just stuff that it was doing the next right thing, and the next right thing happened. I can deal with life on life's terms now, with everything that I'm doing and the things that I'm still continuing to do. Yeah, life is not as bad as everybody thinks it is, or addicts thinks it is. Yeah, it's rough, but it's not that bad.
Not who I was, being remade, I am new. I'm chosen.